and we used to plant like little annuals and stuff. That was kind of one of my first planting experiences that kind of got me into planting, is that my mom used to like to plant annuals. So it's funny because it's like, you know, in nature, nature's constantly changing as well. And there are good changes and there are negative changes. And so the things that we like to focus on are, you know, supporting the environment, so we're having positive changes, not negative changes. So for example, you know, the vines and stuff that you guys are seeing, often they look like greenery, right? They look like, oh, it's just something that's green. But these are often invasive plants from other countries that are causing the plants that grow here, like this. This is a plant that comes from another country, to not have enough space to grow. It outcompetes them. When you have these plants that come in from different places, they often don't have checks and balances. They don't have a predator, etc. And so you end up having a very changed ecosystem. It was initially more native plants that you don't know. You don't really know growing up. You just see green.
Yeah, of course.
You know, and I think now most people just see green and they don't know what that means, what they're looking at. So that's the kind of stuff we're going to focus on today, is not just looking at green, but looking at, okay, who's actually belongs here. An example, so this is a mimosa tree. It's beautiful. You see the flowers on it? It's really gorgeous. In the bean family, but this is an invasive tree. Now this is a native plant right here that you see there that's flowering. That's a trumpet vine. And these days you have to be an extremely aggressive plant to make it, because you're competing with all this other stuff that really is going to outcompete you. So here we have another what? Ailanthus. And I'm seeing them all over this. This is tree of heaven. We are shaded with vines, but unfortunately they're invasive vines. This is English ivy. This is like that one thing that hasn't changed all that much. It's the one thing you can come here and be kind of like nostalgic about and be like, oh, I used to come here when I was a kid and this and that. Like there's some signs that may have changed, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, for the most part.
But nothing really has changed that much. But the big changes that have occurred are the plants that are existing in this park. That's been the biggest change. Now what's special about this park is that it's a wetland. There's not a whole lot of that left. When you talk about the DC area in general, DC area was like once upon a time a swamp. And it's been developed to house all of this humanity and all the stuff that we have. But there are species that occur here that are endangered, that don't have a whole lot of wetland left to live in. So we're gonna see a lot of that when we go over here. So we have different types of grapes. We have native grapes, and then we have a grape family plant called porcelain berry. So we're going to see a lot of that too. There's porcelain berry in here as well as native grapes in here. And the birds eat both of them and spread both of them. That's over here. And we're going to be addressing 5 invasive plants. We can't talk about all the invasive plants. We'd be here all day and all night and all week. But we're gonna address a handful. And by doing so, we're going to learn about these species, because you saw that as we visited a house, we see them coming up in our landscapes as well as in our wild spaces. So in our wild spaces, they're taking over and killing off all the native stuff. In our personal spaces, you know, we kind of dictate what can live there and what can't. So why not take out the invasive plants that are in your properties and put in some good stuff? But now it looks really thin, you see that? A lot of the trees are failing. And so when you see trees that are wrapped up in vines like this is usually not a good thing. Now, sometimes like our native vines can be on there and they will usually grow straight up instead of do the wrap around the tree thing. But the invasive vines will wrap around trees pretty aggressively. And they smother the trees in a way that prevents them from going through photosynthesis, making their sugars. And they also outcompete them for nutrients and just make kind of a mess of the space. And dead trees in a habitat are not a bad thing. So trees, just like us, we live and we die. But trees are supporting habitat in every stage that they're in. But when you see mass amounts of trees dying, that's a problem. Who do we have here?
English ivy?
English ivy. English ivy. Plant been coming here since the 1800s, not on its own. As you can see, spreads about, takes over the whole area, doesn't allow a whole lot of stuff to grow with it, and then it starts to cover the trees. Sassafras. There's quite a bit of native plants in here. Sassafras we like to point out because it just has a very distinctive leaf and it's easy to remember that that's what it is. Mugwort. Mugwort. Very annoying. As you can see, it's not just annoying in our garden beds, it's also annoying in natural spaces, as it is literally taking over. Do you see everywhere where this thing has spread? Do we see a whole bunch of other plants?
Nah.
Starts to kill off the diversity of plants. So a lot of times people are trying to go native and they're like, I bought all these native plants, but they're not surviving, they're not doing well. What's wrong, you know? And there could be a million things wrong, but often it's that they are not supposed to be together, right? So you have your plants that kind of like a lot of moisture and a lot of water and maybe need shade or maybe they need sun or, you know what I mean? Like they don't all occur together. So one of the easiest ways of putting together native communities is thinking about how they occur in nature. So you are mimicking what's happening in nature. Here we have a stand of pawpaw trees. And pawpaws are one of the largest fruits in North America that are also edible for humans. You can see we got some fruit up there that's growing. And they remind you a lot of like a mango. Okay, so pawpaws taste a little bit like a mango, banana, pineapple type taste. The straight native has an aftertaste. So some people like it and some people don't like it, but it's a really fun fruit. We don't see this at our grocery stores and stuff like that because the skin, once it ripens, similar to avocado, it ripens really, really quickly. Like one day it's not ripe and then the next day it's like overripe. So you gotta catch it at the right moment. But it doesn't, the skin is really thin, so it doesn't last well in the trade. So they can't, you might find it in a farmer's market, but you're not gonna find it in a grocery store. So pawpaw trees like to grow in moist conditions, and often they will send up clones of themselves. An interesting fact about pawpaws is that, you see how we have fruit here? They have to be genetically different to create fruit. So in order to get that pollination, that cross-pollination, it has to be one that is not a clone. So it can't just be a copy of itself. Pawpaw trees host several insects. One of those insects that it hosts is the zebra swallowtail butterfly. Very, very beautiful butterfly. And this is in our logo. We really like this butterfly. Something that happens in development, and if you can look up, I can show you the difference. So often in development, they will take out big trees, but they also take out all of the understory. And so pawpaws are an understory tree of canopy trees. So what happens is, you know, we'll clear out an area and we'll develop whatever we have to develop, right? But then they'll put in one big tree. And even if they replace this one big tree, we lose all of these other plants, right? This whole stand of pawpaw trees. But when we lost this whole stand of pawpaw trees, who also did we lose? Which insect? That zebra swallowtail insect we also lost. So we have to think about that and keeping our habitats nice and friendly for many different insects and supporting all layers of canopy, okay? work in wild spaces and even at home, sometimes you're going to find poison ivy. Poison ivy is a good native plant. However, people can have skin reactions to it, and some people are more allergic to it than others. Knock on wood, I don't really get a reaction to poison ivy, but a lot of people have really bad reactions to poison ivy. So know that poison ivy is around when you visit these places, and just be conscious of it. You don't want to go diving into it, right, with your bare hands. So poison ivy occurs in leaves of 3. That means on its leaflet there are 3 leaves. That is one indicator, but there are a lot of native plants with 3 leaves. So this one, often one of those plants is going to look a little bit like a mitten. It's going to have bump out right there, and then one side is going to be nice and smooth, and that's how you kind of know. Sometimes they're a little bit shiny, not all the time, as you can see. Often they start growing like this, but they're growing on a vine, and you'll start to see them climb in the trees. But poison ivy makes a berry that the birds like and is actually a good native plant. And of our native plants, this is one that can survive invasive plant pressure. So there's really no getting rid of poison ivy. It puts down really, really deep roots. So if you have an issue with poison ivy in your landscape, sometimes that has to be treated. So dead wood is not a bad thing. Dead wood supports a lot of animals. As you can see on this tree right there, you see on that trunk, all those holes in there, there are animals that are using this dead wood. However, when you start to see a whole lot of dead wood in one place, that's usually an indicator that there's something wrong. There's something that's happening here that's not so healthy. So something that I see is that we have not just our native plants that are growing here, but also a lot of invasive plants that are growing here. So when those invasive plants start to outcompete an area, often you will start to lose the plants that are living there. So that could be one thing. But there are several things that could happen that could cause that. But a die out in an area is usually environmental.